to sow seeds for a path to success.
Michael Santos, a successful businessman, and Shon Hopwood, an attorney and law professor, shared powerful and poignant messages with men and women serving time in Texas prisons.
Luck has nothing to do with it. Luck has nothing to do with it. It's the decisions that you make every single day while you are in here that is going to put you on a pathway to success or create stumbling blocks.
Michael and Shaun are part of a company called Prison Professors. Their goal? To improve the criminal justice system and to make sure these men and women never come back to prison.
We strive to help people so when they're spinning out of control and they're living at the worst moment of their lives, see hope that they can become something more and help them recognize that they have the power within to start making those changes today.
We come in and we like to talk to guys in prison and just explain, if you use your time wisely and you make tough choices to change yourself, people see that, you get out, there will be opportunities for you.
Prison Contractor Management and Training Corporation, or MTC, invited the men to tour 3 of its facilities in Texas: the Kyle Correctional Center, Lockhart Correctional Facility, and Sanders Estes Unit.
So what this is called the SOD office. It's the staff on duty. This is the hub of the treatment side of the house.
What's your name?
My name is Tim Trahan.
Tim, why should I hire you?
Why should you hire me?
Yeah.
Because I am willing to hold other peers accountable as well as myself.
Michael put Tim Trahan in the hot seat, or as the facility calls it, hot feet, and asked him to explain why he would be of value to an employer and how he's improved his life while incarcerated at the Kyle facility.
Being here, being held accountable, I mean, before I got here, I wasn't capable of holding a good, normal conversation with another human being without getting my feelings about something or without getting angry. And this has taught me to take a look at myself. It's helped me take a look at me and realize who I am.
Good work. Got the job. The programs that you guys are using here are phenomenal because those are the real types of programs that you need to do. You need to be able to think. You need to be able to have your statement down about why you can add value, what value you can bring to an employer. You've got to have a list of credentials behind you. And so the more you think about it, the better you become. And the better you become, all of a sudden, your time in prison can effectively be an asset. You say, I know how to overcome struggle and obstacles, and that's why I can bring value to this company.
Michael and Shaun shared messages of hope and outlined what it takes to make it in society after release.
And so I would encourage you to take advantage of everything you possibly can while you're here. That means everything you read. Have a purpose behind it. Don't just read novels just for fun. Read something that's going to educate yourself. Because guess what? Education is a great equalizer.
And unlike most visitors, Shon and Michael have a unique connection with each of the men and women they visited.
So I certainly know what it's like to live without hope. But there is hope.
You see, Michael and Shaun were both incarcerated at one point in their lives. Michael was convicted of multiple drug crimes and spent 26 years in prison.
When I went to prison, the only thing I wanted was to get out of jail. I'd never been locked up before. I was 23. I was facing life without parole.
Shaun was convicted of 5 armed bank robberies and spent more than a decade in prison.
That's what I did. I did 11 years in federal prison.
Oh, wow.
Their journeys to success are filled with great sorrows and extreme joys.
Ask my wife about the first year out of prison. Wasn't easy, especially for her. I had issues. I had to let that stuff go.
Everything that came out of my mouth, everything that went in my head, everything that I said, did, and thought had to be in harmony with me saying, I never want to come back to prison.
Michael was released 4 years ago. Shaun got out in 2009. Their stories are inspirational. For each, it began with a decision in prison to make the most of every single minute. They were driven, they were goal-oriented, and nothing was stopping them.
You got to visualize success, put a plan in place, put priorities in place, and then execute the plan.
Michael began reading books. Philosophy caught his attention.
I was in prison facing life without parole, and I read the story of Socrates, and that story is what changed my mindset. It helped me stop thinking about the problems that I'm struggling through right now, problems that were created because of my own bad decisions, and instead start thinking about solutions.
Michael read more than 1,000 books in prison. And get this, he wrote a book report for each one, outlining why he chose the book, what he learned, and how the information could lead to his success.
When I went to prison and I was sitting in that jail cell, not any different from any of these, so all of you guys, I mean, in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, I was in for 26 years. Most of it was in prison cells like these. I'd sit and I said, what can I do right now with the resources that I have that will open opportunities for me? And that changed the way I would think. And if you change the way you think, you can open new opportunities.
While incarcerated, Michael got married, authored multiple books, and developed valuable relationships with people on the outside. Today, he holds a PhD, owns several businesses, speaks at various events around the country, and is a true success story.
Just in the last 3 weeks, been up to Capitol Hill and spoke with 4 different senators' offices and was in the White House twice.
Shaun's story is also extraordinary. A short time after being incarcerated, Shaun decided to take a job in the law library.
First couple months, I just kind of handed out books. The law books were big and thick and intimidating, and when I did actually pull one off the shelves and tried to read it, it was like it was written in another language.
But that didn't stop him. He eventually began reading those law books, hundreds of them. And when he learned about a Supreme Court case that could reduce his and others' sentences, he wrote a brief arguing why the justices should support the case. Shaun slowly put together his thoughts using a typewriter and mailed it in.
A couple weeks later, the court sent it back and basically said, Mr. Hopwood, it would really behoove you to file this brief in the right court. So that was the start of my legal career.
The Supreme Court voted unanimously in support of the case, and that was Shaun's catapult to a new life.
And then I started just going crazy, reading as much law as I could. I ended up winning another Supreme Court case for another prisoner and winning cases all over the country.
Today, Shaun's a professor of law at Georgetown University. He's also a successful attorney and motivational speaker. He and Michael want to see real changes in the U.S. criminal justice system, and they say MTC's facilities are a great example of how prisons can play a key role in the rehabilitation process.
And we will talk about how programs like MTC that allows us to come in here can move the needle and change outcomes.
The things that have surprised me about visiting MTC prisons are, maybe some of you, this is the only place you've ever come to, but I can tell you, I have been to prisons all over the country. Very rarely do I walk into places like this that has the opportunities that you guys are given.
Shon and Michael are committed to helping incarcerated men and women realize that they can live successful lives if only they work hard and do the right things in prison.
When we try to change the law, we need to demonstrate that people in prison can come back to society, function on careers, build lives as meaningful, contributing citizens, and stay out of this system.
Michael and Shaun's success did not come easily, and that's one of the reasons they connect so well with these men and women.
Sometimes it's easy to lose hope in here, and we want to come back in and let people see how we want you to see what the best possible outcome, like Shaun's a professor of law at Georgetown, and who would think that's possible?
I had hundreds of lawyers tell me I would never go to law school and I'd never become a lawyer. And you know, joke's on them. Joke's on them.
The men and women they visited with were truly moved by their message.
They're inspiring because out of everything they went through, they had the right mind frame and knew that the people that they once was, they are not anymore. And by them, it's just inspiring to let you know that you can overcome any obstacle. The only thing you have to do is want it.
I think some people do get hopeless on the inside, so I think that that's great. I think it's awesome what they're doing.
I think that just them coming in means a lot. It shows that a prisoner, someone getting out of prison can change their life. And it's an inspiration to everybody in here.
Those men inspired me because I have been locked up for almost 8 years. And I have times where I wonder where I could go with my life and how I can get there.
There's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't do. Do not allow these walls to confine and restrict your mind or your spirit, because God has blessed you with that. Use it.